All right, today we're going to dive deep into one of the most pivotal, most heartbreaking moments in the entire Bible. We're talking about the story of how a perfect relationship was completely shattered, and really what that means for all of us.
You know, the crazy thing is, this entire story, this massive shift in history, it all hinges on this one single verse from Genesis. I mean, it seems so simple, right? Just taking a bite of fruit. But that one choice, it sent shockwaves through all of creation, and it completely changed the course of human history forever.
And that right there really captures the sheer weight of what happened. You see, it was never, ever just about a piece of fruit. No, this was about something much deeper. It was about trust, it was about authority, and it was about the very nature of our relationship with our Creator. Just one choice, and a perfect world was fractured.
So, to really get a handle on what was lost, we've got to first understand what they had. Before all of this went down, humanity lived in this state of, well, absolute perfection. They had a perfect, unbroken relationship with God right there in the Garden of Eden.
I mean, this world before the fall, it's almost unrecognizable compared to what we know today. Think about it. Adam and Eve had this open, face-to-face friendship with God. They weren't wearing clothes. They were said to be clothed in light and glory. They had zero concept of evil, absolutely no experience of shame or fear or even death. They were made in God's image to be rulers over a creation that was just in perfect harmony. But then, into this perfect, harmonious setting, a new voice enters the scene, the serpent. And this is the catalyst for the whole breakdown. And his approach, it's not some big frontal attack. Oh no, it's a subtle, crafty strategy built on doubt and deception.
So here's how he did it. The serpent strategy, when you look at it in Genesis, is kind of brilliant in how simple it is. First, he just plants a little seed of doubt with a question. Hey, did God really say? See? Just enough to create suspicion. Second, he twists and distorts what God actually said. And then the knockout punch, he promises that if they disobey, they'll actually get something better out of it. They'll become like God. And that right there, that gets to the absolute core of the temptation. This wasn't really about being hungry or wanting a piece of fruit. It was an issue of the heart. At its root, it was a distrust of God's goodness. It was a disbelief in what he said. And ultimately, it was a rejection of his authority. It boils down to that ancient question we all face. Can we really trust that God has our best interest at heart? And so that distrust, it leads directly to this pivotal moment, the act of disobedience. And the text is pretty clear. This wasn't just some accident or a simple mistake. No, this was a conscious choice to put their own judgment above God's clear command. And here you can see the two conflicting realities right next to each other. It's so stark. On one side, you have God's authority, his clear command from Genesis 2, if you eat it, you will surely die, period. But on the other side, you have Eve's own judgment from Genesis 3. Well, it looks good for food, it's pleasant to the eyes, and hey, it could make me wise. In that single moment, her feelings, her assessment, that became her authority. And Adam, well, the scripture says he was right there with her the whole time. He then makes his own conscious choice. He listens to his wife, and in doing so, he basically chooses her over his obedience to God. And with that action, the fall of humanity was solidified. And the consequences, wow, they were immediate, and they were devastating. The perfect world they knew, even the very nature of who they were, it was all broken in an instant. So what's the first thing they feel? Shame. That pure, beautiful innocence they had, gone. It's replaced by this heavy, crushing sense of guilt. That covering of glory and light they had just vanished, and for the first time they feel exposed, and they immediately try to cover themselves up. And right after shame comes fear. Think about this. The sound of God's voice walking in the garden, which used to be the highlight of their day, a source of total delight, now it fills them with terror. That perfect relationship was so shattered that their first instinct was to run and hide from the very one they were created to walk with. And finally, the perfect union between the two of them just fractures. It falls apart. When God confronts them, what happens? The blame game starts. Adam points the finger at Eve, and Eve points the finger at the serpent. All that beautiful harmony they shared was instantly replaced with division, with accusation, with blame. But this wasn't just about them and their bad day. No, the consequences were universal. They echoed through time. Centuries later, the Apostle Paul would explain it in the book of Romans, saying that through that one man's choice, sin entered the entire world.
and death came right along with it. This brokenness, it literally became the inheritance for all of humanity.
When you step back and look at it, you really see the total scope of the damage. Sin wasn't this neat little problem you could contain in one area. It was like a virus that corrupted everything. The relationship with God? Broken. Relationships with each other? Damaged. Their relationship with their own selves? Fractured. And even their relationship with the creation around them was now cursed.
Okay, so after a total catastrophe like that, I mean, this was cosmic rebellion. You'd expect God's response to be, pure, swift judgment, right? But what happens next is, honestly, one of the most surprising and hopeful moments in the entire story. Get this. Humanity hid from God, but God did not hide from humanity. He took the first step. He initiated the search. In their absolute darkest moment, drowning in fear and shame, the Creator himself came looking for his lost children. And this leads to the very first question God asks fallen humanity. Where are you? Now, obviously, God knew where they were hiding geographically. This wasn't a question about location. It was a question about their relationship. It wasn't a shout of condemnation. It was a call of grace. It was an invitation to come out of the shadows. And that question, it's really the beginning of the long, incredible story of redemption. It's a question that still echoes through time today, inviting every single one of us back into the relationship that we were always made for.